not never, but it's a lot of times there's always something weird about it. There's always some nuance or detail it has to happens at the export or whatever it may be. But you know, if someone gave me a 5 doc production, it's happening, right? If someone gives me a more complex production, it may take me plenty of hours to get it done. But um, yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's a that's the part of it that I mean, I guess obviously actually running a production is going to be so much more complicated than the kind of the streamlined steps that they give you. I guess my fear and what I don't know is when it translates into actual questions. That's what I'm worried about. It's like, okay, I know functionally it's going to be a lot more complicated doing an actual production, but is it also going to be more complicated and confusing when I'm facing those multiple choice questions about productions? That's where I get concerned.
I think we're all feeling the same thing. So I think we're going to touch on that a little bit today because I feel the same way. Lisa just expressed the same thing. So similar. So I guess just to round it out, we'll just go through a couple of these flashcards real quick just to confirm that, I always think it builds confidence to know that you're asking a question, you remember the content, it's pretty intuitive. It's you can find the answer. And then we'll go over some of the finalizing material that relativity provides like that. The relativity test, practice test, and there's also another, I think it's like a 55 document overview of the test material as well. So I think those two things, at least that's what I'm planning to review over the next 2 weeks before I actually take the test. Um, but let's just start here so we can make sure that we get through and follow through on these items. Here's the first one. I think all of these should be fairly simple. Answer.
This is definitely where it's going to get me. I mean, I, I would say production application because data
Yes.
source is like the cert. Yeah, those are confusing though.
Yeah, these are. I actually pulled these one by one out of the actual text because I wanted to do the. I wanted to find a way to make that other gamification work, but I think we'll just stick to this. Then we'll go over some of the materials and then we can hop off. But all right, here's the next one. Find the markup sets for redactions, the document numbering, the appearance of the numbering, and the setting that relativity uses when you run the production.
Three.
Yeah, I agree. Three.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree. True or false? You can run production without a production set.
False. I think you need a production set, right?
Are
Am I
you
wrong?
sure?
Uh, maybe true. I don't know. How would you run a production without it? I mean, define your documents.
I think
Somebody
you're right.
I
disagree?
feel like a trick in your it it should say without a data set. I don't. It, these
Oh,
multiple choices are making me question. I mean, I'd say false, but then it's like, are they trying to get you with the wording again?
Got
This
it.
is what the test is like too, the way they word the questions. It's
Yeah,
what makes it
exactly.
complicated.
exactly.
You guys
Yeah,
got it right. All
right.
right. How many numbering formats does relativity support?
Um, number one, I think, page level, original, and existing.
I think it's five.
Five? Okay.
Yeah, it's more than three for
Okay.
sure.
Oh, doc field. Okay. Page doc. I know those three for sure, but then okay, I'll go with four, I think.
I don't think you can make a new field.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. 100% so far. Generates a unique incremental number, commonly referred to as Bates, on each page of your production documents. this number is imprinted on the images and PDFs within your production.
Page level.
Why is that bold? That's too easy. Determine how your production is sorted.
That's pretty easy. Production sort.
The production, preview the production to confirm all basic setting, numbering, branding, sorting, and options are correct. And it's bold again. I'll just answer that one. I'm not sure why it's bold. All right, easy enough. There wasn't a lot of text to pick from. I thought it was intuitive. There wasn't much, but at the very least, that should build some confidence around that text, around that portion of the test. Okay, so now moving into the final review week, we've got a couple of resources. This page here called Relativity Certification Tracker, this has got a couple of study resource materials, right? So there's this one here, which is the RCA study resource. These are the sample questions I'm going to go through this weekend. It's just it looks like it's, what do you need to know? Some information on how the exam is going to be laid out and what importance is applied to which sections, so you can have a good idea on what to focus on, like set up and manage security and permissions, which is the bane of my existence, permissions and relativity. Create workspace and manage instance objects, set up and run imaging, run mass operations. These are all high. Run searches, create, modify indexes, set up and run search, structured analytic sets, prepare data, post review, use import export. So, I mean, I'm obviously going to focus mostly on the high and medium, and then obviously I'll double check on the lows as well, but a good way to help prioritize your study using those up top. And then I guess, has anyone not seen this document?
I have not seen it. Yeah, this is the first time I'm looking at it.
So at the end, it's got these sample questions, and maybe I'll put this maybe I'll plug this into Quizlet and just create the test so that people can just go in and click the button and see if they've gotten the answers right. But just 15 questions, and it's got a sample answer key at the end. Then it even walks through practice projects if you want. The next link here is an RCA study plan. This one is the path that we've been on, right? So we did all of this. Stop me if I'm going through this too fast. And then there's the RCA exam workbook. This one, I've only seen a couple of times and I haven't spent a lot of time in it, but will be spending some time this weekend. This one is that 55-page document exam workbook. There shouldn't be anything new in here in addition to what we've gone over. So it should just be a reinforcement review. Kind of walks through some examples. It's got work requests. So if you are working in an organization or you have a sample environment, you can go through some of these testing sets. And then there's a knowledge check. So you also have some test questions in here. I'm expecting myself to be feeling pretty good and ready to go after I've reviewed this document and the other exam, based on all the study that we've done over the last 12 weeks or 11 weeks. That's kind of where I'm at. In addition, on this page, there are a couple of other links. There's some sample data for download to use in an environment. And then there's some FAQs down here at the bottom. So this is what I'm going to spend my weekend on this today. What about you guys? Any comments, questions on your end regarding the next week?
Well, I've been focusing on the user documentation actually, Daniel. I've been putting it all into a big Word document by chapter and then printing it and trying and just going through it and especially focusing on the notes sections of those. I know they draw a lot of questions from the notes of the documentation.
Mm,
That's my experience, and just from talking to some people at Relativity, that it is important to go through that. And there's a lot, and it's a little bit overwhelming, but I've kind of switched my studying to focus on that even more than this kind of weekly guide, and just to kind of dive deep into the each topic.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're open to it, if you want to share, I'm sure there would be people on the unofficial study group that might want to look through it. I mean, I'd love to look through it also, Thomas. I mean, I think the
Okay,
idea now is
yeah, I
just,
didn't even think I could share that with the
yeah,
team.
great. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
that would be amazing. I'd really appreciate that, Thomas. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, my experience, and I haven't taken the RCA, but I took the processing test, and my experience is that a lot of the questions come from the documentation, and it's important to go through it. The test that I took, it was like there were like 45 questions came directly from the documentation, and then like 30 questions came from these use cases, these scenarios that you have to kind of work through. This, documentation doesn't even help you answer those questions, and those are the type of questions that really concern me the most on this test, is being able to to answer those. The questions where even if you had the documentation in front of you, you couldn't get the answer yet. You'd have to work through the question that they're giving you, this scenario, and then answer it correctly.
Right. An entire book of the guide. I agree. Yeah. Um, yeah, I agree. I wish there was more. I wish there were more resources, but I don't know. I'm hopeful. I think at the end of the day, we've gone through this material, and I think most of it has sunken in. It's pretty user intuitive, at least when it comes to the test in the real world. Obviously, there could be a lot of nuance there, and th what we've done so far, and then adding in additional review, like what Thomas is doing, and looking at some of those other documentations. The more questions I answer right and or learn, the more I'm going to be prepared, and just I'm going to go for it. So, um, yeah, I think that's it. I think we need maybe you guys want to just re connect one last time next Saturday. Just say, okay, kind of think through the final plan of what we're going to do. Or you guys want to play it by ear, or what do you guys want to do?
I'd love to circle up again if we can. That'd be helpful. Do you have a scheduled date, Daniel, when you're taking the test?
I'm expecting to take it on July the. I was just poking through the certification setup, and I think I'm gonna go like the next week after the July 4th holiday, so probably the 12th or the 19th. I want to have a little bit extra time to just keep reviewing these questions and the materials, go back through it. I don't want to take this more than once. I want to take it once and
Yeah,
be
yeah,
done. So I
yeah,
want to, but I don't
yeah.
want to give myself too much time, because the more time you give yourself, then you're gonna, at least for me, I may do something else, or so I'm trying to get it right, and I'll probably do the 12th or the 19th. What
Okay.
about you guys? Any plans yet?
Not yet. I'm still playing catch up, but I hope to take it either in August or September, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to take it in July. I just have to have a certain level of comfortability first. I mean, I'm entirely caught up. The only one I have to catch up a little bit on is 8, but I finished through 11, and 8 is the only one, the analytics one, that's the big one. So I'm gonna try and work through that today.
Yeah.
Um, Lisa, what you said intrigued me in terms of taking it at a center. How did you find that information, if you don't mind me asking?
So I just went to the schedule button And
Mhm.
then it took me to the website where you schedule online or in a center. And I just typed my zip code and pretended like I was going through the process. And then it showed me all these different testing centers with dates and times.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm hoping that there'll be one here. That would be amazing. I'm like you. I'd love to be in the room. You know,
Yeah, it wasn't.
to
It's like a very general testing center where they do a variety of different tests. So it's not, exclusive to e-discovery. Um,
okay.
but there were quite a few. I mean, the closest one is about 40 minutes to me. So I would imagine there'd be some, I think it was like Nationwide Testing Center or something. Um,
Might be
I could,
worth it.
but it
Yeah, I
was
took
just on the link. Yeah.
I took it was literally I think I told you guys in the like first or second meeting, I took literally over 4 hours. I think it was 4.5 hours before I gave up with the proctor because we kept on having issues with the chat and first with a couple of different things. I just gave up. I was like, look, well, this is not going to happen today. And then I ended up having to reschedule it. But 4.5 hours trying to figure it out. I think I've got everything ironed out. So I'm hopeful that this RCA exam will go a lot quicker, but not really looking forward to getting past that proctor level because they're pretty tough. Um, no writing, no books. I think who was it that was saying they had to tape up their window in order to get past the proctor to take the test. Um, so it may be worth actually showing up.
Yeah, that was someone I think last week that said that, and that was why I started looking for in person. And then they said they had to show the camera on the underside of their desk
Yeah,
and show that nothing was around them. And I don't have an exclusive office or anything. I worked in my bedroom, so um, you know, I don't I don't
I
have
know.
anywhere to do that. So
When
um,
I
that's
when
why
I
I
took
looked at
that
it.
when I took that last test, it was the pro. I had just moved back into my house, and the office was pretty empty, and it still was difficult. Now I've got bookshelves and books, so I don't imagine this is going to be the place where I can take the test this time. I don't know, not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'll figure it out. So
I was going to ask, I've never taken any of the tests. Is the pro pretty easy? I mean,
super
if you
easy,
know how, okay, because I saw
super.
that's like $50 and it doesn't expire, and so maybe I'll just start there. I should definitely be able to pass it, I would think.
Yeah, it I was talking to Yitzi, I think, about this, and it's almost like the pros are like just memorization tests, really. They're pretty simple, pretty, I mean, it was so easy. I was so worried about it because it'd been a long time since I had taken the test and going through the proctor stuff. But when I actually did the test, it was extremely easy, and it was everything that was on the materials that were provided by Relativity. So yeah, I definitely recommend. $50, you can't beat it. Doesn't expire. Um, Pretty easy.
Oh, the pro is distinct from the RCA.
100%. Yeah, it's more of just I don't know. If you go into the materials, you'll see it's fairly simple. I don't remember how many questions there were. Maybe there was like 50 questions. But it was all the questions were easy. They were almost word for word for what the materials that you studied were. Um, but yes.
Yeah, maybe I'll start there. I don't know. I've wanted to do this for so long, but then since I'm not working in the industry right now, I'm also like, oh, so if I pass this, then I still have to, you know, take all my credits every year to renew it, and that's an additional cost. So the pro ones are starting to look a little more appealing.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking about racking up a few of those pros as well. But I just decided why not go for the gold here? We've been doing this for a while, most of us, so how hard could it be? I just found it more exciting, but I did take the pro because I wanted to build up that confidence to say, okay, let's see how crazy this is. But the pros were pretty easy. So
We need you, Daniel. We're counting on you, man. You're our champion.
me, no,
No
uh,
pressure. No pressure.
no, yeah, no. That's
I'm
funny.
counting on you.
Yeah, well, I hope I'll pass it. That's the plan. I want to do it once, get it done, get it out of the way. And then honestly, you guys, I don't know if you guys know, but I actually got nominated for I'm actually a finalist. I don't even know why. I'm not doing a lot. I'm just doing something that I thought would be fun for people and helpful. Um, for like the education for the Relativity Innovation Awards. And I don't know. I wasn't thinking about doing any more after this, but if this is like something that people like, this can always get better. There's a couple of people that show up to this call. A bunch of people signed up, but not a lot of people are taking the commitment to actually show up. But if we can create more production value and more entertainment around these calls, I would imagine more people would show up. But
Yeah, certainly for me, I mean, I can honestly say that I was never, I was just I was living in procrastinationsville, you
yeah,
know? It was
yeah,
always, I would not be here if you hadn't organized this, to be honest. I mean, I would have found every other reason to keep kicking the can down the road. But when I know I have to show up on Saturday and,
yeah.
it really, really, it's the reason, when I pass, it's going to be the reason why, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, you know what? It goes both ways. As I feel the exact same way, just so you know. Feel the
Mm.
exact same way. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got. Unless you guys have anything else, we got about 10 minutes left on the meeting before it cuts us off. But yeah, let's go ahead and plan to meet here again next Saturday for the final time, and then we'll just kind of talk about what other pending questions there might be, talk about the proctor uh, criteria, and then we will talk about, when each of us are going to take the test or what the actual plan is.
And Daniel, would you be kind enough when Thomas sends his document, would you be kind enough to send it to me by email? I don't
Yeah,
know.
100%. Yeah, I can send it by email. I'll send it by email. I'm going to put it on I think it's a Google Drive location that's been shared to the group in the unofficial relativity training study guide group.
Yeah,
But I can also send it to you an email. Yeah,
that'd be
sure.
great. Yeah, I'd love to take a look at that. And I'm going to take a look at still taking a look at that posting of the person who struggled the last time and kind of get some feedback. Although sometimes that's not always as helpful because it can just make you more paranoid.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys.
All right, have a great
Always a
weekend,
pleasure.
everybody.
Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks.